Yo, yo, yo. What up, peoples? Sorry, I know the starting soon screen was up there for a moment. A couple minutes. Apologies. I'm moving slow this morning. Happy flippin' Monday. Hope everybody's having a great day. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Man, it's time to get it, though. We got video gaming news coming up for June 17th. About to kick that off right now. And then we will be playing, I think it's day 14 of Ghost of Tsushima. Very nice. Yes, yes. So, that's the jam for today. Let's get into it. Let's go. Video gaming news. Let's do this. Hold on. There it is. All right. All right. We're in business. Yeah. Cool. Let's go. My coffee's hot, boy. We've already talked about Galvanic Games, unfortunately, shutting down. What? Interesting. WoW is potentially adding single-player story mode versions of old raids. Jamming out this morning. Let's go. Yeah. We looked at the Kaiju number 8 trailer yesterday. Fans are dreading, apparently, the potential of it being just a cash grab gacha title. That's the unfortunate reality of especially adaptations of anime and manga titles into the video gaming world, especially initially. And I think there's a few different reasons why. Mainly, I think it's because most anime and manga does originate from the Eastern Hemisphere of the world, right? Originates in the Eastern Hemisphere of the world. Don't get me wrong, it's becoming a prominent, and has been for a long time, and prolific piece of entertainment, anime and manga across the entire world. But it has its roots in the Eastern Hemisphere of the world, right? Specifically Japan. And I think that when you look at the more lucrative pieces and more so specifically mobile gaming, right? Mobile gaming is something that has definitely been adopted in a greater capacity in the Eastern Hemisphere of the world as well. So I don't think it's probably any kind of coincidence, really, that you see a lot of these titles that are at least initially being adapted into the entertainment segment of video games from originally being anime and manga being gacha games, while they also usually fit very well for that style of game, right? Lots of different characters. They're usually very, very good to be adapted into being a gacha game because they're usually pretty easily made into fairly deep RPGs, and there's a lot of characters, which is just a great recipe for gacha games, right? So, I mean, I'm not going to be surprised, really, if Kaiju number 8 ends up being a cash grab gacha title. A lot of them do this, you know? But who knows? Maybe we'll be surprised, right? Maybe we'll be surprised, but we'll see. We will see. Take-Two's filed a new trademark for ball over everything in Europe and US. What? Okay, we'll take a look at that. Excuse me. Game dev praises recent Helldivers 2 update, calling it absolutely fascinating. Let's see what they got going on there. Look at this author trying to build themselves up and get some clout. I was the first Black Myth Wukong player at Summer Games Fest to beat this freaky optional boss, and I don't even know how I did it. Shut up, dude. For anybody that doesn't know what's going on with the Wonder Woman game, obviously underneath Warner Brothers, and it's being, even though Warner Brothers has a huge focus right now on games as a service, and we've seen how well that's gone so far with things like Suicide Squad, they are making Wonder Woman single player. And they're incorporating the Nemesis system, which is something people have really enjoyed through the Shadow of Mordor games, right? But we've read here recently that there is some potentially not so good things going on in the development of this, you know, in the project behind Wonder Woman. Like, a lot of strife. A lot of internal struggles, and we'll see how the development of Wonder Woman continues to progress. From the things that I've been reading here recently, I wouldn't be all that surprised to see this game have some more news come out before too long about what's going on internally and potentially delays too. It's not sounding like it's a great, smooth, you know, well-oiled machine behind the production of this Wonder Woman game coming to us. We'll see though. As what we've been hearing, Dragon Age the Veilguard strips your RPG party down to 2 companions plus your main character. That means 3 in your party at any given moment, right? As opposed to what I think was traditionally the norm, if I remember correctly, in Dragon's Age was 4. But they'll be deeper with a lot more banter, which can either mean good or bad things. Banter, if done well, is amazing. Banter that is repetitive and not done well can suck. So we'll see. Classic Star Wars game getting re-released soon. Let's see what this is. New Legend of Zelda game rumored to be revealed soon. Really? God, this song's good. We've talked about the Shovel Knight stuff. Yep. Will you buy the PS5 Pro? I won't. Soup will. I won't. But Soup will. I think different people are going to address this differently. It depends on if you're actually interested in the platform being PlayStation in the first place. I don't think you're probably going to benefit a great deal for, upgrading from just the regular PS5 to the PS5 Pro. If you've been interested in getting into PlayStation, you don't already have a PlayStation, then it's probably worth just waiting to see what the PS5 Pro is going to cost, if it's within your budget, things like that. You're going to have a lot of those PlayStation fans, though, that do have a PS5. And they're going to upgrade because it's the latest and greatest. You've got people like that, too. It's going to just depend on, it's going to be a very subjective kind of situation for people. But ultimately, I don't think that price versus what you're necessarily getting, especially for how long. Well, look, I think this is the biggest thing to take into consideration. PS5 Pro is supposed to be releasing sometime towards the end of this year, which will mean we will be 4 years into the life cycle of the PS5 at that point, right? And ultimately, you'll have roughly probably 3 years worth of game time on the PS5 Pro before the PS6 drops. That's a significant amount of time, but is it, for people that already have a PS5, is it worth the money that you would have to drop? And the slight performance gain you're going to get? I don't know. Rather than just waiting and grabbing the PS6 when it comes out, I guess. But everybody has to make that decision for themselves, right? Next Fest is finishing up today. That's what I thought. You like that? I know you like it because it's pink, but I am Knuff, chat. Thanks, brother. Yeah, I got it for Father's Day yesterday. What's up, dude? Let's get back in here. How you doing, buddy? I figured you would like this shirt, yeah. Enjoying time at work. No Kappa in there, dude. I'm gonna take that as a serious statement. You just love being at work, yeah. Sitting around not doing anything. Nice. Yeah, finally. Awesome, dude. Nice. Yeah. Wait, what? Assassin's Creed Valhalla gets controversial paid graphics update? It's a mod. Interesting. Let's take a look at this. How old's Valhalla? Hey, I'll actually have energy to work on stuff at home right now, brother. I feel you, dude. I haven't had hardly any energy here lately. I don't know what's going on. I feel like I've been busy, but I also look back on it and I'm like, I don't think I've been that busy, but I've just been stupid tired too. I don't know. Elder Scrolls 6 is being developed with long-term support in mind. That makes sense. So I don't know whether we're going to be getting a new Dino Crisis game, but we got some leaks here recently that show that we've potentially got Turok coming back fairly soon. You remember all the Epic leaks? If you didn't hear about that, there was a bunch of leaks that came out of the Epic platform. And apparently we got Turok coming back. I don't know if we're talking new game, remaster, remake, or what, but Turok looks like it's hitting us again. So, we'll see. Todd Howard confirms annual expansions for Starfield. Good for Starfield fans, I guess. Oh, nice, dude. Nice. Cool, man. Awesome. Right on. Have you still been playing Ghost of Tsushima, bro? Or did you finish it up? Yeah, not bad. Yeah. Yeah. You know, people are going to vary widely in completion of those, though, depending on how good you are at puzzles, right? Start of Act 2. Okay, yeah. Word. That's what I kind of figured. So the title of this article says Black Myth Wukong feels like the next Killer Souls-like. Let me bring up something real quick. This. Yeah, word. Cool. Yeah. So I'm gonna try to push pretty hard now, man, to go ahead and get Ghost of Tsushima taken care of. That way we can try to start getting in on some of the getting Sons of the Forest started at some time fairly soon. Yeah. One second. Yeah, dude, yeah. Yeah. I think getting into Sons of the Forest sometime soon is interesting for me. Get us into another like base building survival kind of game, you know. I'm feeling that. Feels like the right time. So that'll be fun. That'll be fun, man. All right. This is what I want to bring up, though. When you're talking about, like, I bring up this kind of sentiment fairly often when we come across the Souls-like thing. And look, there's a lot of hype around Black Myth Wukong. I mean, from what I've seen so far, it looks pretty good. But you know, it's quite often hard to tell exactly what you're getting just based off of trailers, even if it is gameplay trailer. You know, that developers know how to feed you what is going to hype you up, and when you're talking about, I can't help but think of Lords of the Fallen right now, when you're going to talk about a game that a lot of these outlets were trying to hype up. I mean, look at this. No, stop that. I had it up. It just wasn't. What are you doing? No, this one, dude. There. You want to talk about, you know, a game that is a Souls-like game that looked like it had promise, right? Grind for Stone and Valheim, dude. Yeah, I keep seeing you guys talking Valheim, and as much as I love Valheim, but bro, that is a grindy game. It really is. There's a lot of grinding you got to do in that game. Yeah, it almost feels like it'd be like, you know, playing again would be almost like PTSD inducing, dude, for just grinding resources. Especially for the way you like to build, bro. Bro, what? That's crazy. That's crazy. So this is something that comes to mind when you talk about the recent Lords of the Fallen game, right? This was a game that felt like everybody was trying to hype this up. The trailers looked really promising. The gameplay looked really promising. And you've got very, very prominent outlets like Extra Life, IGN rated it perfect, 10 out of 10, right? Yeah, all these Dextro 8 out of 10, you know, which is okay. Xbox Era 9.4. You know, this is the kind of stuff that I'm always worried about, because you get these games that get hyped up. It seems like, you know, they're reviewing very well when after the fact, when the game comes out, you're talking about a game that rated by over 21,000 players on PC, at least on Steam, as a 6.1 out of 10. Yeah. And so I feel like obviously the Souls-like, the Soulsborne-esque kind of games have become so popular, man, and it's because FromSoft has done such a good job on them. But these other companies trying to emulate what FromSoft has kind of perfected, if you will, and has done so well, it's not easy. And it's always a bit concerning for me to just get wrapped up in the hype of one that looks really good, because it doesn't necessarily mean it will be good, right? And let's be fair. You can't trust all the time what outlets are going to be throwing at you as far as scores before the game. Because, I mean, come on, this is nowhere close, right? This is nowhere close. These scores are nowhere close to what most users found the game to be experience-wise, baseline, you know, from a baseline data point. At the, you know, the least difference is about 2 points, like Famitsu, 8 out of 10. Most users found this game to be about 2 points below even that. And then you've got outlets like IGN rating it a 10. You can't tell me that wasn't a buy-off, dude. Get out. I mean, no, I know that they're like, you know, everybody's going to have their own respective opinion about an experience and stuff like that. But it does feel like in the industry there's a lot of trying to hype up these kinds of games, right? So when it comes to something like Black Myth Wukong, it looks amazing. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. We've heard things like there's 70 bosses. Now, on the flip side of the 70 bosses issue as well, is it going to be 70 different, totally unique bosses with different movesets you're going to have to learn and struggle to, you know, take down, because the fights are all going to be unique and feel fresh and nice and fun? Or is it going to be 35 unique bosses that are duplicated somewhere in the game and used again, you know, that are going to have basically just a fatter life bar and are going to have the same moveset and maybe hit a little bit harder, you know, but they're going to call it a different boss. We don't know that yet. It's always easy for them to make these games look and sound very good. Could be, dude. So I you know, everything I've seen for Black Myth Wukong right now looks really intriguing, but it's hard for me to buy into the notion of getting into the hype of a lot of these Souls-like games, because it's hard to do them right, man. It really is. It's hard. It's very hard to get it right. One of recent note that I feel like really did, that I haven't played yet, that I'm planning on playing later, probably a few months from now, Liza P. I think NeoWiz, being a company that, you know, a newer developer, showed that they know what it takes. They know what it takes. They've got DLC coming fairly soon, it seems like. But, you know, it's always kind of a mixed bag. You're never, unless a company has shown you and proven to you that they can do it, well, it's worth being a little bit sus about what we're going to be getting out of a Souls-like game, you know? So I'm not going to buy into the hype yet on Wukong. It looks awesome. It does. It looks really good. But we'll see what it is. We'll see what it is. We've already seen the release for Visions of Mana. The Killer Bean game looks hilarious. Go another page here. Yeah, that probably would not be a huge surprise there, would it, Pinky? In today's day and age of gaming and developers and publishers. Probably not. Came across an article yesterday that blew my mind. There was an article where, I don't know if you were hanging out for the news segment yesterday, but there was this article where somebody was writing about how they would pay $150 for AAA games to save the AAA industry. And I was like, brother, that is just an asinine notion. That's just exacerbating an issue in the industry that we're already dealing with. You know, it's like, what a stupid notion. We're gonna save every, yeah. Yeah, well, that's what I mean, kind of what I was getting at was like, you know, all that what basically what it was just getting across the point that, you know, raise the prices on AAA games, that way, you know, the bad companies don't get, you know, set apart from the good companies, and you know, they'll just make enough money to continue to survive no matter what, you know. And it's like, that's not gonna solve anything, you know. You're just gonna save every company in the AAA side of things, because you know, it's like, what a stupid way to go about thinking about how, because they're, you know, I know they were just focused on how many companies are suffering, how many companies are going down, but I mean, that's also the business world, right? It doesn't matter what industry it is. Business is business. If you're not producing quality products, then, you know, you die out. And it's not about necessarily price in this industry as much as it is about setting yourself apart with quality content, quality products, and things like that, right? Don't get me wrong, there's like the bigger companies that have too much clout in the industry on certain IPs and franchises that it feels like they just can't do wrong, which is not fair, and it shouldn't be like that. People need to be a bit more, you know, concerned with how well those products are actually developed and whether or not they should be buying into them. But if that's all you're going to do is just take a look at, oh, let's just raise prices twofold, pay double what we are right now for every game, and that way no company ever dies out. No company ever suffers. It's like, dude, you're just going to be supporting trash crap products all the time. You know, well, these companies are literally go, oh, we don't need to make anything worth crap anymore. You know? It's like, come on, man. It's so stupid. What a dumb notion. Everyone deserves to play. Why Xbox head Phil Spencer's Doom comments struck a nerve. Let's see what this is about. We've talked about Spider-Man 3 stuff. We've also talked about this whole Steam situation. Alright, man. Let's get in here. Let's look at what we got. It's a little bit bleak on the news front this morning, but Sundays and Mondays be like that. Everyone deserves to play. Why Xbox head Phil Spencer's Doom comments struck a nerve. As Microsoft shifts away from console exclusivity. No. They still have and still will always have console exclusivity. It'll just be only for limited amounts of time now. They're not moving away from it in totality. People need to stop with this. I don't know. The way they state this all the time is weird to me. Xbox head Phil Spencer's comments on Doom: The Dark Ages aren't sitting well with some gamers. Have you ever said something and then realized it was going to come back around to haunt you over and over again? Every day. Yeah, three-head things. Xbox boss Phil Spencer might be spending his downtime with his head in his hands after his most recent statement about the upcoming Doom: The Dark Ages. When taking this new statement in the context of other things Spencer has said and other business decisions Microsoft has made, it calls into question the future direction of the entire Xbox platform. Doom is definitely one of those franchises that has a history of so many platforms. Spencer told IGN following the Xbox showcase, "It's a franchise that I think everyone deserves to play." Franchise that everyone deserves to play. What does he mean by that? If you're not tuned into what's happening in video games, Microsoft has begun publishing some of its smaller games like Hi-Fi Rush and Grounded on non-Microsoft platforms, the Switch and Sony PlayStation 5. The common wisdom among gaming industry executives, as well as gamers who have devoted themselves to a single platform, is that exclusives are good, and they're a necessity to prove to your install base why they should buy your game. If Microsoft is selling games on PlayStation and Switch, then what's the point of owning an Xbox in the first place? That's the question posed by so many responding to this decision from Microsoft. Why is everybody acting like Microsoft is not having exclusives anymore? That's not the case. I don't understand why. How are people this dumb? Microsoft is not currently in a strategy where they're going, we don't do exclusives anymore. This is not the case, dude. All the games they've released on their competitors' platforms have been out for at least a solid amount of time, right? And that's what they're going to do moving forward. If they have games that have been exclusives and they feel like it's the right time, trust me, they got people crunching numbers. They're looking at player base. They're looking at sales, stuff like that. If it seems like the right time to get it on other platforms to continue and raise prices or raise sales, get more revenue out of the game and stuff like that, that's what they're going to do. But they're not going to release their first-party games on other platforms right away. They'll still have periods of exclusivity on Xbox first and foremost. This is the strategy. Not releasing all their games right out the gate on other platforms. Why is everybody talking about it like that? First batch of games to make the jump were relatively small games, ones that had garnered critical success or benefited from multi-platform gameplay. Doom: The Dark Ages, however, will be one of Microsoft's biggest games of 2025, and the company announced, alongside the blood splatter trailer, the game would be heading to PlayStation 5 as well. They didn't say it right away, though. I think it's a franchise that I think everyone deserves to play. Microsoft has a lot of franchises under its umbrella these days, thanks to a slew of high-profile acquisitions in recent years. Doom, Wolfenstein. Did they say on release it'll be on PS5? Let's look into this. Spencer's mantra with Xbox games for the last few years has been, when everybody plays, we all win. This is a smarter pivot for Microsoft, dude, and for Xbox. It just is. Anybody that wants to throw a fit about it just doesn't understand business. They don't understand the gaming business. They don't understand that Microsoft has lost money forever or broken even forever on hardware. And that their big play is services. And they've got amazing subsidiaries underneath them at this point that it makes more sense to get this software in as many gamers' hands as possible. And look, from a gamer's perspective, as somebody myself who has played games on all platforms all my life until probably over the past about 7 or 8 years where I really got heavily into PC, pretty devoted to that, and nothing console's really turned me off. It's gotten really gross to me. So PC is about all I do anymore, right? But for the majority of my life, it's been all platforms. Exclusivity sucks. It's terribly frustrating. And I think that most gamers in some capacity have dealt with it. Where you're going, Jesus, I wish I could play that game, but ultimately, I don't want to spend $500 to $600 on some hardware just to play one single game. Or 2 games. Yeah? So either I'll wait until it comes to the platform I'm playing, or hopefully I'll get to play it at some point in the future or whatever, because it's just not worth it. Yeah? Luckily, in today's day and age, we are seeing a more adopted stance in the industry of many developers and many games being released multi-platform. So it's becoming a nicer, more convenient space for us as gamers, where it's not as dependent upon what hardware you're a fan of anymore. Yeah, it's still there. It's still a thing, because especially Nintendo will. I don't ever in my lifetime see Nintendo currently moving into any kind of, we're going to release our games on any other platform. Even PlayStation, they're getting more aggressive with PC, but releasing on a competitor, it's harder to see that, but I could see it much more than Nintendo. Xbox, it makes sense. It's made sense. They've been struggling to compete in the console side of the industry for a while. It's their services that have really kept them doing well. Game Pass is a banger. It's really good. And their hardware has really been their downfall, to be honest. And so what are they doing? They're finding ways to continue to generate more revenue off of software, because they're not making money on hardware. So if it means that they only take a period of exclusivity to put their games on their platform in the first place before they go to other platforms, Xbox fans that are throwing a fit about it are just going to have to be realistic about what the situation is here. And I do believe it'll become a more prominent and accepted method of, business tactics in the industry as we continue to move forward. A lot of developers, even take Square Enix for example. Square Enix even has come out and been like, we're kind of done with exclusives. So when you're talking about studios that aren't necessarily first party for a console, manufacturer, but they've been notoriously renowned for doing exclusives, like Square is. Square's done exclusives forever, right? Just like even more recently with the Final Fantasy Rebirth and Final Fantasy Remake games, PlayStation, right? But they've come out recently and gone, it doesn't really make sense for us anymore. We're probably not going to be doing very many exclusives. It makes more sense for us to be putting our games on multiple platforms. Why? because there are so many gamers nowadays on so many different platforms. And so the exclusivity deals that they used to get, which made more sense because you're getting a lump sum and it was going to be more than you would have made putting it on other platforms anyways, you know, that's not the case anymore. So it's not like Microsoft is the only one seeing it this way. They're just a very, very high profile company, and they've been in the console wars forever. So they're kind of getting knocked for this, right? Now let's look at this whole Doom situation and see. I don't remember them. Let's pull this up. I don't remember them saying anything. So there. No, that's Wikipedia. Let's be careful. Everybody's reporting it is coming to PS5 on release. Which is interesting. But, I mean, again, consider me not all that surprised. You're not going to see this happen with, like, Elder Scrolls 6, okay? You just won't. It's not going to happen. So, to think, again, I am surprised, I'll be honest with you. I'm surprised that they didn't at least take, like, a 6-month exclusivity period just to pull people into Game Pass, people into their platform and stuff, but to release it on PS5 to begin with, I'm surprised. I am. It's random mode time. Let's go. Yeah, dude. OS Frog. You know what? That's perfect. We're wearing a frog headband in Ghost of Tsushima right now. Currently. You know, all that means that we're about to go straight up Frogger on everybody in Ghost of Tsushima today. It's perfect. So, I am surprised. I am surprised that they're going to be releasing this on PS5 and not have some kind of limited exclusivity period for their own services and platforms. It's interesting. But this is, again, here's the thing. Do not expect this with more of their more high-profile titles. Things like Elder Scrolls 6, stuff like that, you will not. What up? Reject, what's going on, buddy? You will not see Elder Scrolls 6 on PlayStation right away. Eventually. But, I mean, mark my words. I'm 99% sure you will not see that game on PlayStation's console on release. You know? It's too big. Too big. Pulls in too many people. So. But this is their strategy. And I respect it. I understand what they're doing. And I feel like this kind of notion here is an Xbox platform fan that is throwing a fit. That's who I feel like this author is. This is an Xbox platform fan throwing a fit, it seems like. That their platform is releasing a proprietary first-party game on a competitor's platform day one. But I think this is the reality of the business side of what's going on right now with Xbox. And we kind of saw this coming. You had to see the potential of this being a thing for some of their titles. It won't happen with all their titles, but obviously some of them. Take-Two has filed a new trademark for ball over everything in Europe and US. It is not just Nintendo that filed trademarks. Other video gaming companies such as Bandai Namco, Sega, and Take-Two will also from time to time file some trademarks of their own for similar reasons. They aren't limited to just Japan either. Video gaming companies do file trademarks in other regions as well. The latest example of this has been discovered earlier today. What are you laughing at, bro? You see, it has been discovered that Take-Two Interactive has filed a new trademark in Europe and the US a few days ago. The trademark is for the phrase ball over everything, leading fans to speculate it could be a new FIFA 2K game, NBA 2K. It sounds more like a basketball term, or even a Lego soccer game that leaked recently. You can see a tweet relaying the news down below. Okay, well, we'll see what it comes to, but there's not much information here other than the fact that they filed this, and it sounds like a basketball term for me. Game Dev praises the recent Helldivers 2 update, calling it absolutely fascinating. Let's see what they got. Helldivers series went from a fairly niche release that very few people had heard of to a global juggernaut seemingly overnight following the release of Helldivers 2. Despite a very dedicated development team and engaged community, it has been seeing its share of problems in recent weeks for a variety of reasons. Yeah, Arrowhead still has a lot of good standing in the gaming community, but it does feel like the game is walking on a tightrope at the minute. And the team must navigate these next few months carefully if it wants Helldivers 2 to remain a success. So, EBCat took to Reddit to discuss the recent Helldivers 2 update, as well as Arrowhead Game Studios' future plans. They also note that they are a game developer and have shipped over 20 games of varying quality and success, which does give a unique insight into the mindset of a developer that we don't often get to hear when looking from an outside perspective. Start the post by saying that, quote, the newest patch brought some initial relief only for that to wear off quickly. As an example, no ship module was touched in the last patch, but supply packing broke. Meanwhile, new features have been released for months but have never once worked. Looking at your improved defense against rockets for centuries. The list goes on and on, as you all are aware. According to the developer, this is likely caused by the choice of engine, which is the discontinued Autodesk Stingray that was used for the original Helldivers game, as well as Helldivers 2 and 3 Warhammer titles. The engine was discontinued back in 2018. The developer continues by saying the first game was made on this engine, and that's likely why they chose it for the second game, but I'm pretty sure that was a huge mistake. When you use something like Unity, Unreal, etc., you're a part of a community of people solving problems together. You gain a lot from having an actively developed engine. I'm going to bet this is one of the biggest reasons for the mess they're in now. I feel bad for anybody using Unity currently, and, you know, for about the past year, and moving forward. Yeah, Unity's pretty disgusting. Engines, the business behind Unity. The engine itself, it's fine. The business, the executives behind Unity, disgusting. Engines such as Unreal and Unity have become two of the most popular choices for game developers, and thousands of games have been created using them, from small one-developer projects to major AAA releases, including the likes of Fortnite, FF7 Remake, Tekken 8, Sea of Thieves, Pokemon Go, Genshin Impact, and many more. These engines have an incredibly dedicated community behind them, and more importantly, are actively worked on by their creators. It does seem like an odd choice to stick with a subpar discontinued engine. Could explain a lot regarding the technical issues that Helldivers 2 continues to be plagued by. Yeah, interesting. That's interesting. I did not know that. I did not know they were using a dead engine for this game. When did started it in 2016. That's got to be a terrible thing to deal with, you know what I mean? start the development of a piece of software. 2 years into the project, you find out that they're not, you know, the engine that you're using is basically just not going to be supported anymore. It's just going to die off. That's a tough decision to make right there. Do you stick with it? Do you stick with what you're already doing, or do you pivot over to another engine? Could you imagine Helldivers 2 though being in UE5? That would have been pretty dope. It is concerning, I must say. It should be concerning for the community that this game is built on a dead engine. Not that there aren't plenty of games that are out there still running on engines that aren't used anymore or whatever, but as opposed to one that is more modern and still being fully developed and you know, see what happens. It's interesting. I had no idea. Classic Star Wars game getting re-released soon. Lego Star Wars 2 is making a comeback this week. Another classic Star Wars video game is set to return on modern platforms this week. In recent years, PlayStation has started to bring back numerous different Star Wars games. Better than Unity, brother. Yeah, no, I'm not doubting that one. No way. Yeah. Which is why I didn't say, you know, I'd rather see him on Unity. From the past, and has made them available through its PS Plus premium catalog. Some of these past releases have included Star Wars Bounty Hunter, Star Wars Racer Revenge, Jedi Starfighter, and Clone Wars Demolition, just to name a few. Another title set to join this growing list in mere days will definitely please those who used to own a PlayStation 2 console. Going live on June 18th, LEGO Star Wars 2, the original trilogy, is set to become playable on PS5 and PS4 platforms. Tells the story seen across Star Wars episodes 4, 5, and 6. Not only will it be accessible for free for those who have a PS Plus premium subscription, should also be purchasable on its own through the PlayStation Store. They've got a synopsis of the games here. So that's neat. Good. Cool. This is interesting. To be quite honest, I wasn't expecting anything relatively soon for The Legend of Zelda. We just got Tears of the Kingdom not too long ago. Just last year, right? So Tears of the Kingdom was just last year, and we've got new hardware coming our way at the beginning of next year. And so I really figured that The Legend of Zelda, the next entry, would be on the new hardware, because that's a pretty tried and true thing for Nintendo to do, right? I mean, you've got your yo, what up, Ferret? Very, very unique titles and IPs to Nintendo that you can usually safely bet on to be part of their new hardware releases, right? With The Legend of Zelda being one. Now, I wasn't sure if some Legend of Zelda software would be ready as soon as the hardware came out, but I didn't figure it would take too long. But this is kind of interesting because people are like speculating that we would see something new for The Legend of Zelda on the new, or on the upcoming Nintendo Direct that we might be getting this week. I'm not expecting that. Like I said before, to be real honest, I don't expect to be getting anything about the new hardware, games coming for the new hardware. I'm not expecting anything like that right now for Nintendo. I think that what we'll probably get is a late in the year showcase to give us the reveal of the hardware, give us a reveal of the games that are coming out with it, stuff like that. I think it's too early right now. They've already delayed the release of the hardware from late this year to early next year, and I just don't think it's the time for them to show it off, to be honest. So anything that's coming out, and I don't see a Legend of Zelda game coming for the Switch. I think it's coming for the new hardware. That's where I see this happening at. But I mean, that's just my own speculation. That's just what would make more sense to me as somebody who dives into this kind of stuff a lot, and I could totally be wrong, you know. But let's see what they're saying here. New The Legend of Zelda game rumored to be revealed soon. A new game in Nintendo's iconic Legend of Zelda series might be announced quite soon. Currently, Nintendo fans around the world are waiting patiently for the publisher to hold its next Direct, which is confirmed to be happening at some point in June. While it's not yet known what Nintendo will reveal when this Direct takes place, now it's being suggested another entry in the Zelda franchise might end up appearing. I think if anything, what the most they would show would be just like a real quick teaser, but it wouldn't be anything substantial. You know? According to a leaker that goes by the name of Midori, Nintendo has been working on a new Zelda game that is codenamed Edward. Although details on what the nature of this game might be weren't shared, the insiders suggest the game could be revealed in short order. They go on to claim a subsequent chain of messages that have since been made public that Nintendo's next Direct will be held on Tuesday, June 18th, which we've talked about. I've been trying to keep track of, which is a venue in which this announcement could feasibly take place. If Nintendo is working on a new Zelda game, the question becomes, what's the nature of this title? Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom only released a little more than a year ago, like I said. Near certainty that a new mainline installment won't be shown off just yet. Right. In recent years, though, Nintendo has been porting and outright remaking other Zelda games from the past. As such, there's a chance the company could once again pluck one of those games from the past, put it on Switch with a new coat of paint. Per usual, it's worth stressing this is just a rumor. Yeah, grain of salt here. Yeah. That's what I kind of expected this to be, was, you know, a little bit baity. But you see something like this, you can't help but kind of dive in to make sure, almost. You know what I mean? Unless it's quite clear from the search, you know. Yeah. So, again, I mean, that's why I gave my sentiments in the first place about what I'm expecting myself, because I think I'm pretty close to what's going to happen here with something Legend of Zelda. I don't think anybody would be surprised to know they're working on a new Legend of Zelda game. We've heard speculation they're working on a remake as well, right? And we know they're working on that as well. All right. Yeah. So I mean, who knows? They could be doing, maybe showing a little bit of that. Who knows? But I do think it's one of those things where it just doesn't make sense right now for Nintendo on the front of anything that has to do with their new hardware, games that will be coming for the new hardware, which I really think a new entry for The Legend of Zelda will be coming for the new hardware. It won't be coming. It'll be on the Switch. It'll be on the Switch. Maybe. But it'll be primarily developed for the new hardware. And if it's going to be on the Switch as well, it will be a different version. We know how that's going to go, right? So for them to showcase it, I don't think they're going to showcase it as a Switch version. They'll be showcasing it as a new hardware version, which is, I think, what it's being developed for. So I'm not surprised here. Lastly, this is the last one I got, guys. Assassin's Creed Valhalla gets controversial paid graphics update. Would you pay for a mod? I think it depends. Hold on. Right, exactly. Well, they're, you know, they're... It's just one of those titles for them, right? It's like Mario stuff. And like Mario Kart, yeah? Like, there'll be a new Mario Kart, too. It's just a given, dude. You know, it's just one of those things that, like, if you were a betting person, you should bet on that. You know, like, that's one of those things that's a safe bet. You just know the way it works, right? If you know anything about this industry, anything about these companies, that's just the way it goes for Nintendo, right? Like, I mean, it's been almost 10 years for the last Mario Kart. It's been on the past 2 generations of hardware. That's just logical, you know, for them to do, right? Well, no, it wasn't different. That's what I'm saying, you know? That's what I'm saying. I mean, it was ported over. There was just slight differences. That's it, you know? And that's why I'm saying it's time for a new one. It's time for a new one, right? So, when you think about things like that and you know where they're at with stuff, and that's why I think it might not be a Legend of Zelda game ready right when the hardware releases, right? Because we did just get Tears of the Kingdom a year ago. So to think that they could turn around and have a Legend of Zelda game, a brand new entry, ready by the beginning of 2025 for the new hardware as well, I'd be very surprised, right? But I think that's what this comes down to. You have to understand and be cognizant of how feasible is it for them to do some of these things, right? Yeah. And there are telltale signs too for certain things, like you know, if you guys don't remember, I'd already been talking about how I had expected when we knew they were developing, it was official, they were developing and coming out with the new hardware for Nintendo and everything. I had you know, been talking about how I figured there'd probably be a new Mario Kart game just based on how long it had been, right, for the old one. And then you started seeing them really pull resources off anything current for Mario Kart. If you don't remember that, I'm talking the mobile game, everything that was being done for Mario Kart 8, right? Everything got ramped down. All the resources for anything current Mario Kart got just kind of. So what do you think they're doing with all those people that normally work on current Mario Kart stuff? They probably got them working on a new Mario Kart game. I mean, that just makes sense, right? Because they ramped down production on basically anything that's current and out there for Mario Kart. It's just over. So what else would they be doing? I mean, it's just kind of logical. It just makes sense that's another telltale sign almost that they would be kind of working on something behind the scenes for a new entry, probably getting a lot of people resources that are familiar with that kind of production, that kind of software, you know, for them to work on something new. I'm not positive, but it makes sense, doesn't it? All right, Assassin's Creed Valhalla gets controversial paid graphics update. I think this is the thing with modding, okay? There are a lot of great mods out there. And there are a lot of mod creators out there that do amazing work, right? So obviously anything from performance all the way through content, there's a lot of great stuff that can be implemented for games that are open to having mod support. And quite often, I mean, I shout out mod creators all the time for the work they do and basically taking up the torch where a lot of developers drop it. They don't want to fix a game, right? They release it, they don't want to fix it or whatever. Mods come out, you know, mod creators come out with mods that actually make the game perform better than the developers ever did, you know, and it's unfortunate that's the case, but I mean, thank God for the mods. So I think that when you're talking about would you pay for a mod, is it worth money? And it's going to be a very subjective and very respective, I guess, kind of thing for everybody, depending on what you feel like you're getting out of a mod. Because look, there are mods out there for amazing, huge pieces of content, you know, in certain games where it's legit, almost like expansions, right? So these mods that have been created that are like huge, amazing pieces of content, that seems more like something that is worth money to me. Yeah. Or if you know you're going to be spending an excessive amount of time in a game like Valheim, and you can get a package of mods that really increase the quality of life options the game provides, because Valheim's amazing, but there are definitely some mods out there that increase the quality of life. Would you be willing to pay for that? I don't know. It depends on the I think amount and what are you having to pay for what you're getting, right? We talk about that even on the software side of just games, retail wise, all the time, right? There's the things like, you know, now people are gonna feel different about this as well, but let's bring up a very controversial mod that has gotten Capcom in a lot of trouble. Nude Chun-Li, right? You know, I'm not personally going to pay for a mod that's going to make Chun-Li nude, dude. Okay? But there are people out there that probably would. Right? So, I don't know. I think it all depends on who you are and what you're looking for and what you think it's worth. Correct? So, this is going to be a very kind of sticky situation as far as what's worth it to you. But it depends on what you're trying to get out of mods and everything as well. And I'll say this, I mean, honestly, I was able to use a bunch of free mods on my Fallout New Vegas playthrough, and it wasn't, were it not for those free mods, it would have been nigh impossible to play that game. As good as Fallout New Vegas is, it is terrible to play on modern hardware. It is a mess. It does not play well on modern hardware. It is really, really brutal. All kinds of crashes and issues, stability issues, performance issues, stuff like that. But there's about, you know, there's a lot of good guides out there. You can run about 5 or 6 mods and you won't have any issues, right? Which I did, and I didn't have to pay a cent. But I probably would have, because it was phenomenal. Long playthrough, gave me a great experience, and allowed me to be able to play that game. There's a lot of different areas of mod creation, and a lot of different people are going to feel differently about whether or not maybe mods are something worth paying for. Because let's be fair, people are putting in the time and effort to create these things for people. Some people don't care to be compensated for it. They just do it out of having fun and stuff like that. You know, others do find it to be something that they would appreciate being compensated for. You know, I think it just depends. It depends. Let's read this though. Assassin's Creed Valhalla has a new option for a graphical update, but it's a controversial one because it comes in the form of a paid mod. Post-launch support for Valhalla ended back in December of 2022 with the release of the last chapter, so the only place fans can look toward for new additions to the Viking-inspired RPG game are mods. Normally, creators release mods for free, fueled purely by passion and desire not to get sued for profiting. Like Ferret said, there's always that premise of being worried about getting wrecked by the game's developer for profiting off of the game, making the mods and stuff, right? But sometimes modders will put the work up on Patreon, so people have to pay them a monthly fee to access the mods. That's what happened with the ACV Upscaler FSR3 Build 01, a mod spotted by Gaming Bible. This mod, quote, enables DLSS, FSR, and XeSS upscaling and FSR3 frame generation in Valhalla, essentially meaning the game could run at much more smoothly, even for those with older machines and standard GPUs. This mod is available via creator Pure Dark's Patreon. You have to link your Discord account to Patreon, sign up, and then join Pure Dark's Discord server. Starfield players recently review bombed the game on Steam due to the developer including paid mods and a new update. Yup, gotta love it. Things are different with Valhalla because the mod is coming directly from a modder, not the developers, but many people still don't like paying for non-professional additions to the games they've already paid for. The latest game in the Assassin's Creed series is Shadows. It's set in the... Yeah. We know this. Okay. Yeah. It's always been an area of debate you know, this side of things. And donations are any issue. I think modders might have issues if they're charging. Right, yeah. So I think that is like the loophole, right? Oh, quite often there's a loophole. So it's like, you know, if you're just setting things up and it's like, oh, hey, none of this costs, but if anybody wants to donate, it's appreciated or whatever, then that's the loophole for being able to make any kind of money off of doing what you're doing for these titles, right? Because it's not, you're not being paid directly for the content, right? It's more just being compensated as a generality for the work that you're doing or whatever, right? Yeah, I think that is usually the case. Yep. So I don't know, man. I really appreciate all the work that modders do. It's really cool stuff, and not that I don't normally run mods. I like to play my games pretty vanilla, but I have in the past for specific reasons. And the most recent example, like I said, Fallout New Vegas, it was a phenomenal thing to be able to have those mods to run, because first couple of days I tried to play that game, it was riddled with crashes and bad performance issues and stuff, and the mods totally fixed everything, you know. So I don't know, it's an interesting thing here that I think everybody's gonna feel a bit different about what's worth paying for on the mod side of things, and maybe what's not. But there's also there's a slippery slope side of it too, for what modders can be compensated for and how, for sure. That's the news, my dudes. We're going to play Ghost of Tsushima for the rest of the day. Hope everybody's having a great start to your week. I hope you had a great weekend as well. This is the jam, man. Anybody that's hanging out, whether you're watching this live right now or as a VOD later, we always start off with video gaming news every single day. We try to stay current on what's happening in the industry, promote a healthier industry for ourselves as gaming enthusiasts and consumers of these products, man. And we're live 6 days a week, every day but Wednesday. We begin at roughly 6 a.m. CST, CDT, and then we go play games for the rest of the day, like we're about to do right now with day 14 of Ghost of Tsushima on PC. Yeah, it's been a great playthrough so far. We're playing on the hardest difficulty, lethal difficulty, and it's brutal, and I get salty, but it's very, very fun. The game's a banger, and we're going to go play more of it today. We've got an amazing community here full of just incredible people, always cultivating a welcoming experience for anybody that wants to be part of this. We have a great time, lots of laughs, but it is truly about forming beautiful friendships and you know, centered around obviously what we all love so much in video games. But you know, we're always here to lift one another up and welcome in more awesome people to the community that want to be a part of what we do, and centered around being void of negativity and toxicity and stuff like that, and just having a good time, spreading good vibes, you know, playing video games together and stuff. So if you can dig it, come be a part of it, man. We're always looking for more awesome people to be a part of our fantastic community here, okay? Other than that, wait, did I have googly eyes? Did it pop off? Was I just too focused? Stay healthy, stay safe, be kind. I'm going to run us an outro real quick, but I'm not going anywhere. As soon as I get back, it did? Okay, cool. Thanks, Reject. As soon as I get back, man, we'll start getting prepared for Ghost of Tsushima. All right? I'll see you guys in a second.